you started doing open mics,
Mm-hmm.
and then within 6 months, you started getting small gigs,
Small
$50,
gigs.
$100, $300, opening
Right.
for other comedians. When did like your first break come?
First break was, I want to say 93.
Okay.
That's when back then Comic View used to go to that's BET Comic View. They used to go to different cities and like film comedians. I remember they came to Philadelphia and they filmed a few comedians, and I guess the guy that was running their comedy club at that time told them about me, so I was one of the ones that they filmed. And even back then I didn't even have cable, so they filmed and they put it on TV, and I would go, wow, people was like, oh, we saw you on BET. I'm like, damn, I don't even have BET. You know, so that was probably about a year late after, a year into comedy,
Okay.
where I was able to I was on BET. And then in '94, BET just changed their format where if they like certain comedians, they actually had you fly to LA. But it was so rough then. I mean, BET back then was real, just, oh God, it was the worst. I mean,
This was before they got sold to Viacom.
way before.
Right.
I mean, back then, if they call you to be on BET means go get some money because you about to spend your own money. You had to fly yourself in,
Okay.
get your own hotel, get your own everything, and when it's all said and done, they'll mail you a check for $150.
Wow. Okay.
So you came out here to work for negative $500.
Right.
And back then it was way before airport security, before those 9/11s. Then you could actually go online and buy people's plane tickets that they bought and they didn't want to use. You could fly in anybody's name back then. People used to sell their plane tickets. I remember when I flew here, I went in the newspaper and bought somebody had a ticket to LA, a round trip ticket to Los Angeles, and I bought it from him. The ticket was in his name. You could do that then. It didn't matter. It was checking our IDs to go through security.
Right.
So I remember buying a ticket for like $240-something. 1994, I remember this. And then I'm gonna come to LA. I actually came out with a fellow comedian because he had some friends that were already living here. So we crashed over their place. Damn, what happened while I was here? He knew a few people, knew people that knew people, because I remember meeting Bell Biv DeVoe back then in LA. I actually remember running into Snoop Dogg in an elevator. It was right around the time he was like going through court for some really heavy case.
Right. The murder case.
The murder case.
Right.
I remember seeing him in an elevator around that time. And now me and him are real cool, so crazy.
Right.
So that beat, when I flew out to do BT, that was my second break.
Okay.
And I did it. Back then it was a competition. So it's like you'll do your first set, you're competing with, I think, 2 other comedians. And then they pick a winner and they go to the next step. And the next step, the more step you go, the more you film. I lost in the first round, But I didn't care. I got to be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And people saw me again. So now, my price go up maybe another $100, $200.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going around picking up $400, $500 in gigs, and then that's around the time Def Jam came. I did Def Jam, and I did another show called HBO Snaps. It was like it was a show. It's kind of like the MTV show Your Mama.
Right.
It was an HBO version of it, so we really went hard on it, like real hardcore, roasting people's mothers. It's crazy. The episode I did had me on there. Tracy Morgan was on my team, and this guy named Ray. He actually recently just passed away. Comedian passed away a few years ago. He was actually the cousin to Jamarco Russell. He was a Raiders quarterback. Remember him? Yeah. And then the other team had Talent, Monique, and Ricky Smiley. So that's how heavy it was back then. It's called Snaps. If you ever want to look at it, just go on YouTube, look up HBO Snaps.
Right.
It was that was my other big breaks. And when that show came out, the producers of the show did a tour, HBO Snaps tour. So we went on the road and each of the comedians did a stand-up act, and then after that show, we all got together and roast each other's mothers. on stage.
Okay.
You know, and then I didn't do anything for a while. I was busy, you know. I was making $500 a gig, something like that. And then I didn't do anything else in 98, 97, 98. I came back to LA to do like a BET 30-minute special. You know, back then it was like an hour special, but it was shared with 2 comedians. So I did 30, the other comedian did that 30. Mm-hmm. And that's when I came up with the word Moddasucka. That's my signature word that actually still being said to today. You know, I was backstage and I got my set together and I'm like, damn, I can't use motherfucker. Well, I found a replacement. What am I gonna do? What can I, because every joke I always want to, every joke I used to do on stage, I ended with like, you motherfucker, motherfucker. I'm like, well, I can't do that on BT. So what am I gonna replace motherfucker with? I was like, back, Moddasucka. Right backstage, I came up with Moddasucka. Mm-hmm. And since then, it's like, you know, it's my signature.
Okay.
Word right now. And then I did that, and a year later, 1999, I happened to, you know, I was working at the time. What was I working at? I was working at the airline, U.S. Airways. Mm-hmm. I had a part-time job with the airlines, and the reason why I took that job was so I could, of course, fly for free. You know, so like during my days off, I was off usually Tuesday and Wednesday. So Monday after I get off work, I work early. I work like 6 to 10 a.m. So when I get off work Monday, I'll get on the plane and come to LA. And I'll be in LA for a couple of days and then head back like Tuesday night to go back to work Wednesday morning. So they used to do this comedy show at the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard. Guy Torrey used to host it. It was called Fat Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what it was called? I think it was Fat Tuesdays. It used to be at the Comedy Store every Tuesday night. So I just happened to be performing one night. That's the same night Ice Cube came to see Mike Epps for the first time. And I happened to be performing that night. So I did my thing. And I think Ice Cube's like, you know, whoever the African guy is, let him come and audition for this movie we're doing. You know, that movie ended up being the movie Next Friday, which I end up, you know, getting a little cameo part and pretty much being my biggest break.
Right. That's the, I can't get jiggy to this.
I can't get jiggy with this shit. Where's your manager, that pink motherfucker? Please don't hit me, I'm just a bitch ass nigga. Man, even to the movie is like, what the hell, 16, 17, it came out in 2000, 16 years old, and they're still quoting those lines, man. You know, so when that came out, I really was feeling myself then, you know. I went from like making like $2,500 a gig, you know, and I was working so much that I didn't really sit and think about what's the next thing to do to get to the next level. I was just too busy. Everybody was booking me. Every club, every day across the whole country. You know, I was going out there picking up my $2,500, making me like good money, like $100,000 a year. You know, that's great with no college degree, you know.
Right.
So, and instead of like, damn, I just did this movie, I need to pack up and move to LA, man. I'm like, I'm in Philadelphia, I'm the king of Philadelphia. I'm, you know, making money here and there. And then after a few years, I said that, after it kind of like died down a little bit, you know, I said, let me come to LA. I came to LA in like 2005, you know, and I was trying to like get with an agent or management, whatever, you know, but it doesn't work that way. Like, this industry is all about who you know, recommendation. They gotta come for you. They gotta ask for you. You can't just, you know, because I got this booklet where it has all everybody's information on it, all the agencies, all the management companies. So I took that book and I just grabbed my little VHS tape with my reels on it, with everything I've done, with my bio, my headshot, and I started sending them out to different agencies and management companies. And guess what it did? It sent all that shit right back. It doesn't work that way, you know. So I was in LA for like 2 years with no representation. The only thing I had going for me was I was still popular, so I was still doing my stand-up. I was going to working and doing my shows and making my money. But the main purpose I was here, I wasn't doing it. I came here to do television and, you know, do stuff, and I couldn't do it because I had no representation. And like I said, you know, people have to recommend you. And, you know, and sometimes this industry, people are so afraid of competition. You know, if it's a comic that is with an agent, and he know like, hey, you guys have to check out Michael Blackson. He's good. He won't do that because he thinks that's going to take away from him. You know what I mean? So I was like, so I went back east after a couple of years, and you know, just working, saving money, saved a lot of money, like built a big house in like Delaware. This is like 2008. You know, bought me a nice car. I was just, you know, working. I was a working comic. And then I came and, in fact, before I left, I think before I left and went back, I did this, 2006, I did this, I did some work, I ran into Master P. And did some work with Master P. We did some independent movie called Repos. Repos became like a street banger. Like everybody in the streets know about this movie. You know, you can see the whole movie on YouTube now. The movie starred me, Cat Williams, Master P, AJ Johnson, Big Leslie, who's now on Saturday Night Live, and a bunch of other comedians. So I did that movie. I co-starred Master P was by repossessing cars and this and that. So I did that movie, and the movie like came out and was like, you know, it was like a straight to DVD movie. You know, straight to DVD, and every hood kid, every black kid in the hood bought it. So then, you know, and then I was happy about it because next Friday was like a 3-minute scene. This movie, I was like the star of the movie.
Right.
You know? So finally, babe, you know, P just he went a cheap route, shot it real cheap. He looked at real cheap, but it was just hilarious.
Right.
You know, and then people fucked with it, so everybody watched it.
Well, you had mentioned, you know, you talk about next Friday, you had mentioned in an interview that you would get a $14 residual check.
Oh yeah, that's recent though, but I still get that check from next Friday, man. $14 a lot. I've got some like $4. At one time, you know, because I keep hearing this stuff about they're gonna do another Friday, the last Friday, and maybe a year or two ago, I get this weird phone call, and she's like, hey, I'm just calling from, you know, Q Vision, just making sure you have the same information, whatever. Because I thought I was getting close to like doing this Friday movie, you know. And we don't know. I don't know when it's gonna happen, if it's gonna happen, whatever. So when I got my little residual check of like freaking $3, whatever it was, I screenshot it, put it on Instagram, and I at Ice Cube like, listen, man, these $4 checks not working. Okay, let's do another Friday and let me give me a bigger check.
Right, something more than $4.
Yeah, man. By the time I cash this check, I'm negative.
Right, after the check cashing fees.
The check cashing fees, you know, I'm negative $3, motherfuckers,
right.
You know, so.
Well, you know, next Friday was the movie that sort of introduced Mike Epps to the world, Cat Williams.
Well, Cat Williams was the one after that, Friday After Next. Because after that, he did that with Mike Epps, and they did All About the Benjamins, then they went and did Friday After Next. Did they do anything else? I think that was that. All About the Benjamin was pretty good.
All About the Benjamins was great.
Really great movie.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, and Mike Epps got a chance to star into something himself. That was pretty good. I like Mike Epps. He's just a silly guy. He just, you know, I recently did a movie with him. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's called Meet the Blacks.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I saw there was a music video you guys did also.
Oh, yeah,
with this girl where they kind of redid some of that.
Okay.
No, I saw that. Why do you think Chris Tucker never came back to do the Friday movies? I mean, because there's talk that he's going to do the last Friday movie. I guess his money's
well, you know, I mean, in this industry, you work hard to go to a different level. You want to move up in levels.
Okay.
And sometimes to get to other levels, you know, sometimes you feel like all work is not good work.
Okay.
You know, and he was trying to, you know, I don't know, how did he,
Elevate?
He was trying to elevate and set himself to a certain level. He, you know.
Well, I mean, and he did that with the Rush Hour. I mean, you know, it was international hits.
Yes, it was.
Especially because you had Jackie Chan, who's the biggest movie star out of China, you know. But when it goes down to Chris Tucker's favorite performances,
it's Friday.
Everyone's going to say Friday. If you're a Chris Tucker fan, you won't say Friday was cool, but Rush Hour 2, that was my shit. Like,
But see, Friday-
nobody says this.
Right, you're right. But right, I mean, but Friday was like, everybody in that movie was hungry. You know, that's like, that was their first movie. You want to shine, you know what I mean? So you give like all and all you have, you know? And then after that he did I Love Money Talks. That was a great movie. That was his second big paycheck. I heard he got paid like $700,000 or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd heard he didn't really get paid that much for Friday.
Nah, he probably did it. I mean, and I mean, I don't know what the budget was back then for that one.
Right.
You know, even with the one I did, it would, at the end of the day, like, you know, movie is like any other job where you have minimum wage, you have this and that, you know, and if you're not a star of the movie, you just doing a cameo. They have like cameo fee, and if you want to request more money, you could try, you know, you'll get it, or if they don't think you're that important, you won't get it.
Right.
You know,
They'll just cut you out.
they'll catch you. I mean, like, because I was wondering why, like, next Friday, why AJ Johnson didn't do it, or, you know, where were those guys? Because the best thing about sequels is seeing the original people from the first movie that you fell in love with.
Right.
You know, so when you don't see them, it's like, damn, what happened? So there was this bootleg stuff going on.
I mean, because I'll be honest, the other Friday movies were cool, but
Okay,
I don't feel they're in the same category
as the first one.
As
Never.
Friday.
It would never be.
You know, like Mike Epps couldn't replace Chris Tucker. And Mike Epps, I love Mike Epps as an actor. You know what I'm saying? All About the Benjamins, great movie. That You Will Never Find a Hairline Like Mine, like, I love it. But, you know, there's a certain level of magic in the first one that they could not recreate in the rest of the movies. You know, no offense, I know you were one of them, but I'm saying, like...
No, and I 100% agree.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You know, but, and you know, when Chris did that, after he did Rush Hour and he did Money Talks, I mean, he did joint with Charlie Sheen. You know, so he's like, okay, all right, I got to go big now. You know what I mean? And he probably would have felt like going to do a Friday movie is like going backwards for him. Even though sometimes you got to do stuff for the fans, man.
Right.
Sometimes you got to. I mean, you may create a classic, you know, and you got to do it for the fans.
Yeah.
But, hey, business is business, man.
Well, and I'm sure that if he did it again, I'm sure that he would be paid significantly to do it. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be like what he got paid the first time when he was an unknown guy who just did Def Comedy Jam.
Right. I mean, if he did it, if he came and did it, this movie would probably gross crazy money.
Yeah,
like
it could do $100 million.
Something crazy.
That's what I'm saying. And with a small budget.
Yes.
I mean, I heard Friday was done on one block, essentially.
It seemed like it was.
Yeah.
I don't think they left that block.
Right, just that house.
And the other house is probably across the street.
Across the street, and then there was the convenience store, and that was about it.
Yeah, dang.
Telling you.
Wow.
I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of the idea of Drake. So, no disrespect against Drake.
What do you mean by the idea of Drake? What does that mean?
Meaning that if he has a ghostwriter, he's an idea. He's not meaning that it's a perception created that he's not really writing the lyrics, and it's just like here, let's make this in the factory and put it out.
I'm just on top of my game right now, Vlad, and I'm just getting blessed. I'm booked 4 or 5 times a week, 60, 75K a show, man. I'm winning right now, man, and I'm just steady trying to increase my hustle.